Today we are going beyond the basics and diving deep into a specific activation within your chart. I'm going to show you how to analyze a gate within your chart to get a deeper layer of it so that you can embody the frequency behind it, or at least experiment with it in your life to see what happens when you do. Welcome to Frequency of Self, your go-to resource for the practical application of human design in life, business, and relationships. If you're ready to experience lasting transformation, hit subscribe. Now, in a previous video, I talked through some of my favorite books when it comes to human design and resources that help you really uncover a deeper layer of this system. So in this video, I'm going to be walking through how I use these books in a very specific example to analyze a part of my chart so that you can learn how to do it for yourself. Now, stick around to the end of this video if you want to learn how I actually implemented what I'm going to share with you in my business and how it actually ended up giving me massive clarity on what to do next to be able to create more purpose in my life. Part 1, analysis. What we're going to be analyzing today is my sun gate. Now, the reason that I'm starting here is because this is what I would recommend that you do as well. And hopefully in explaining my sun gate and decoding it, you're going to understand how you can decode it and how to actually practically move this into your life. So the first place that I would start is in the definitive book of human design to really understand, what is this gate? What was the original language associated with it? So for gate 28, that is the preponderance of the great for me, as well as the gate of the game player. I would then also read the blurb associated with this gate. Gate 28's deepest fear is that life might end before one knows what makes it worth living or what gives it meaning. It's an energy that is stubbornly focused on listening with awareness in order to best intuit which risk will make you feel more alive and lead to struggle, which brings purpose to existence. Without gate 38, you may fall victim to unnecessary pressure to fight or struggle. Now, when reading the paragraph for your gate, I would highlight some keywords that stand out to you within the book, because then if you ever come back to it, you can see what stands out very quickly. But then also you might find that some words resonate some days and others different words resonate. So it's almost like a different thing that you're going to understand as you live your design a little bit more and as you explore it. At first, it might not make sense. But when I read mine initially, it definitely did. I am the person that rolls the dice to take a risk to find purpose and meaning in life. Now, if you are into astrology, it can be really helpful to understand the actual astrological sign behind the gate that you're analyzing. Now, for your sun gate, that one's pretty obvious because almost every single person knows their sun sign. So I am a Scorpio, and so we're analyzing gate 28, and that is Scorpio energy. But if you're analyzing another placement in your chart or another gate, you're not going to know what sign is associated with that. And so if you have an astrological background and understand the signs, once again, super helpful to look it up. Next up, I would look into the Gene Key book to better understand that gate and how Richard Rudd, in contemplating it, actually explains it. So you could look at the title right here, as well as the shadow, the gift, and the city to understand the frequency bands of the energetic expression of that gate. So this one says, embracing the dark side. Now, if you know anything about Scorpio, Scorpio is the dark side. It is deep diving into someone's soul. It is the depths of the ocean. So the shadow is purposelessness. Now, we previously talked about how this person is a game player and they're rolling the dice to take a purpose and meaning in life. Purposelessness is the shadow because when I get to a point where everything feels useless, it's almost like life isn't even worth living, right? It's like, why are we even here? Why are we doing this? And that is the shadow frequency that can definitely come through with this energy. And that is an opportunity for me whenever I'm experiencing that to recognize it and say, wait a second. How can I shift out of this? And the way that I shift out of that is through looking at the gift. And the gift of this Gene Key is totality. Now, that did not make sense to me initially, so I definitely had to read the description that Richard Rudd broke down. And you likely will too. The gift of totality means to embrace the whole of your nature and the whole of life, the pleasure and pain. Now, I've previously read that, but reading this, in today's day and age, like that resonates deeply. That is very much how I describe my life, is that you can have peace and calm despite the external struggle in your life, and being willing to embrace both equally and be wherever you are. When I am embodying that element of my life, which he's describing as totality, my life feels so much better and it feels more purposeful. Now, having previously read this, I also see that I have certain parts highlighted, and this can be really beneficial because it can help you see over time how you are growing. Because when I first read this, there were certain things that stood out. Pleasure and pain was not highlighted. What was highlighted is that the state of totality appears to be a continual state of taking risks, not the unfounded risks of the 28th shadow, but the risk of building something you cannot really see until it is complete. If you've been following my online journey for a while, or if you're new to this channel, let me quickly catch you up. I am someone that has been building an online presence for years, and I am all about taking action before you actually have clarity, because clarity comes with action. And so this energy of actually taking the risk in order to build something before you can fully see it is a huge part of who I am. And when I'm doing that, once again, I don't feel that purposelessness of life. Now, I could obviously keep going into the depths of this. I think you're starting to see the power of it. So I'm going to put a pause on this and move on to our next analysis tool. Next up, we dive into the line level of the gate that you have, because the reality is that every gate has 6 different variations of it. The first is a little bit more of a newer relationship to that. It's often looking for the foundation, and it moves up to the 6th line, which is almost over this frequency and ready to go on to the next thing. So you will fall somewhere in that trajectory, and yet each gate is going to have a distinct quality to each of the individual lines. So I would first start by looking at the black book, and I would look at the line associated with the gate that you have. So I know for me, it's called holding on, the ability through whatever means to keep one's grip. That is how Ra described 28, line 4. Great. Holding on. Then I'd turn to the book of lines. I'd find gate 28, and I would read both the headline of gate 28, because he's going to change how he describes it, as well as the specific line. So he also calls this the gate of the game player of life. And then he says persistence, recognizing the courage and tenacity needed to meet life's personal challenges and finding cause to celebrate. Now, that celebrate piece didn't come up in the previous text that we were reading, right? So there's these different words from different people are going to hit home in a certain way that are going to help you understand this frequency at a deeper level. Now, it also says, by acknowledging the fear of dying and finding your inner equilibrium, you hold true to your own standards among all the unbalancing forces of the world. You triumph when you combine presence and commitment in playing the game of life. And remember, life is a celebration. Then I go down to the 4th line. It says being strong, finding extra inner resources to learn and grow. So now we can contrast that with holding on, right? Holding on is almost like a gripping energy and, sticking through until the end. He describes it as being strong. Then it says, either you combine your intuitive gifts with your inner strength, or you collapse under duress. So that's kind of his understanding of the lower frequency of this gate. So I could look at my life and say, okay, where do I feel like I am collapsing under duress? And how could I actually lean into my intuitive gifts in order to pull up on that inner strength? Focusing on this in my life has really been mega beneficial for me to understand the underlying frequency that I have, how I am someone that's extremely determined, and instead of making myself wrong for that stubbornness that I have, see it as a gift in a way that I can shine brighter in the world. And finally, we hop on over to the I-Ching workbook, look at gate 28, and the words that they use for this is critical mass. Super different of a term. So it's going to actually break down that here, and then we can dive into it at the line level. So you're starting to see that it's really just a matter of getting more information so that you can hear it from different perspectives. So it hits a chord differently, which might end up making you show up a little bit differently in your life. And that could make all the difference. In an atom, when critical mass is reached, it is a time when several heavy particles are occupying the same space, thereby creating extraordinary events and catastrophic chain reactions. In much the same way, the current situation is becoming weighted with great many considerations. There are numerous decisions pending. The air is full of ideas with all their ensuing multifarious possibilities, and the ponderous affairs of the people around you are pushing into the foreground. All of it is important, serious, and meaningful, and all of it is coming to a head right now. This is the frequency that my life as a whole, from a human design standpoint, is taking on. It's like I'm at this point of critical mass where a decision needs to be made. And so that's a frequency that I'm kind of operating in often in my life. And I resonate deeply with that. So I would obviously finish reading the whole thing, but we'll hop over to the 4th line. You can now find within yourself the strength and the vision to achieve a successful outcome in your endeavors. Do not rely upon people or things outside of yourself or guidance. Dependence now on external things leads to humiliation. So me reading that, it's kind of refers back to the totality, right? It's like, stop grasping at other people to save me in a way, and like focus on the inner strength within myself and that energy of holding on, being strong, and pulling from inward in order to get where I'm wanting to go. And for someone that is also Christian, praying for that strength to be able to go where I want to go. There's no black and white rules in all of this. It's merely self-inquiry. Part 2, practical application. Discovering that I had gate 28 as my sun gate was extremely helpful in helping me realize why I was at this point of frustration in my life and feeling like I needed a change. So when I first was exploring this activation, I was at a point where I had an online business that had a course business as well as a YouTube channel associated with it. And I was honestly bored in what I was doing. The way that I would describe it is, if I have to film one more talking head video, I'm going to blow my brains out, which is a horrible way to say it, but that's the point where I was at, which very much is gate 28 energy of purposelessness. It's like, why am I doing this? Nothing feels worth it. There's no purpose in this. And so there was this kind of downward spiral that started happening. And at the same time, I had gotten really into human design and was deeply exploring this system. So I felt this natural pull between who I was online and where I was actually wanting to go, which was, or what I wanted to spend my time doing, which was deep diving into human design. And so learning that the gift of totality meant that I had to choose, like I had to go all in on this. I had to kind of be 2 feet in and not 1 foot over here and 1 foot over here. Really created this internal conflict for me because I didn't feel totally ready to do that. And so what I ended up doing was I actually ended up shifting to a different frequency within my chart, which was my unconscious sun gate, which was gate 33. And I retreated from the whole situation and decided to go dark and disappear. So in this whole experience, what ended up happening was that as I retreated, I started to realize that there was a natural pull to the human design stuff. And then there was this other part of me that still very much enjoyed the video aspect and teaching digital marketing online. And so what I decided to do, and this is kind of another part of my human design journey, is that I've learned that I'm an alternating appetite where I go from one thing to the next and back and forth. I decided to start a second channel. And this is the channel that you're watching. That has been a big decision, and it's like 2 feet in energy, like let's get this thing off the ground and then I can return to this at some point in time when I have the energy and bandwidth to do it. But I know that this is where I'm going and it's time to be 2 feet in and make it happen. And so that was really a big thing in my life that I would not have uncovered had I not really played or questioned with this energy of gate 28 and being a game player that did need purpose and meaning in my life. Now, one other thing that I'll say about that is that in this process of letting go, which ironically, my energy is to hold on, I decided to let go and see what would happen. And in that process of letting go, I really was able to find that inner peace despite the external waves that were happening on the surface. And that also became the totality. It was about fully owning the situation that I'm in and not trying to fight it, relax and surrender into it and see what comes. And so many amazing things have come from it. So I can tell you this human design journey is not necessarily black and white, but it is incredibly beneficial in terms of just understanding this underlying frequency, because I can guarantee you there will be a time in the future where I feel the same way that I felt when I first came across this, and understanding it and having gone through an experience of working with this frequency, I now understand how to have that peace despite the external circumstances. And your lesson will obviously be different. All right, we covered a lot in this video, probably way too long of a video, but I'm gonna hit publish anyway. So if you're still watching at this point, please be sure to click like and drop your comments below of what stood out to you in this video. Thanks for watching, and if you want to dive into another video at a higher level topic that isn't so deep, then you could watch this one next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.